You can be perfect once again. Everybody can be. And that's thanks to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So no matter what happens in your credit report, in your financial life, no matter what's on that credit report, nothing is going to stay there forever, except one thing, the Perkins loan. Don't ever get a Perkins loan. The U.S. Department of Education has some pretty large powers when it comes to credit reporting, so be cautious with your student loans. So I stand corrected. There is one thing that can stay there forever if you don't pay it. For everything else, there's limitations on how long it can stay there. So most things are going to fall off the credit report within 7 years of their occurrence. Chapter 7 bankruptcy will stay there for 10. Chapter 13 bankruptcy will stay there for 7 years. So there's always going to be a time frame for when things are going to come off the credit report completely. Now my advice is to always save a copy of your credit report, assuming that somewhere along the line some date is going to be changed and not in your favor, to your detriment. And that you may have to prove something at some point in time to say, hey, this is older than what it's actually reporting as on my credit report. And I'm going to dispute this with the credit bureaus, all three of them, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. I'm going to dispute the date, and I want to have my documentation. So the best way to have that documentation is to save your credit reports because it's got all the dates there. And just make sure that you save that in case you ever were to need it. But the reality is that bad things today will not be there tomorrow. As more time passes, it has less and less impact. So if something's going to be there for, say, 7 to 10 years, always think of it in a 12-month increment. Every 12 months that passes, it has less and less impact. Generally, bad things, once 2 to 3 years passes, it has much less impact than it had before. And when it gets to about 4, 5, 6 years, it's still maybe there, it's still on the credit report. But is it having an impact on the credit score? It's much less. Now, this is me making an assumption. My assumption is that you're reestablishing credit. My assumption is that you're paying everything on time after a bankruptcy, after a foreclosure, after a short sale, all of those things. My assumption is that you had issues, you figured out a way to solve it, you started over, and now we're paying everything on time, we've reestablished credit, and that everything is good. And if we continue doing that, then the credit report will get better, the credit scores will increase, and before you know it, you can be perfect again. In fact, you might even be able to get to that proverbial 800 or higher FICO score. I've seen it happen, and you can do it too.